Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Pitch Talk.
We are fans of football dropping vlogs, videos and podcasts on the beautiful game.
Check out our videos on YouTube and Instagram's IGTV,
including special feature segments,
5 minutes with the G,
the Straight Shootin View,
coaching with JBK. We produce, record and edit video content
and audio on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Verbal, Podomatic,
Anchor,
Spotify
and other podcast platforms.
Join the Pitch Talk revolution on Twitter, Instagram,
Facebook
and www.pitch-talk.com.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I can see you now. I can see you now and then. I can see you now.
Pitch Talk podcasts and videos are brought to you in association with LE Bikes. Begin your journey into electric bikes. Visit lebikes.co.uk. Welcome to
the Straight Shootin View.
Hey everybody, what is up? My name is Liam Angel, aka Straight Shootin LJA, and welcome to another episode of the Straight Shootin View. Now, what's been announced as I recorded this, and you're going to hear some voice notes from WhatsApp regarding this, is a trial of sin bins at professional level. Now, some of us who play at grassroots level will be saying, finally, after all the trialing. It's been about 5 years worth of trials at grassroots level. I play in the Southern Amateur League, and we've had it there for a good 4 or 5 years as an FA affiliated league, along with the AFA, the Amateur Football Alliance. So it's going to be interesting to see how they apply it and how it's done. But yeah, sin bins are going to be trialed at professional level they are saying from the end of the 2024-2023 season, this current season. So there's a lot of things that are unknown at this stage, but it has been announced by the IFAB that they will be trialing it. So have a listen to these pre-recorded comments from myself. So yeah, another episode of the Straight Shootin View coming at you. Sin bins. Well, this is interesting because it has been trialled, and I mean, with me being a player for Ibis Eagles AFC in the Southern Amateur League, we've been subject to this trial for, I think it has been about 4 or 5 years now, and yeah, I've seen it applied in a fair few games, and it is one of them ones where the levels of dissent, if you know you're going to get sin bin for 10-15 minutes, it's a case of, yeah, you're going to mind your P's and Q's a bit more. And it's interesting that it's going to finally make it to pro level, because it's going to be interesting to see where they start it, if they start it in the Championship, if they start it in League One, League Two, or it's going to be interesting to see where they start it, because I doubt it will just come straight in at Premier League level, no matter how much the IFAB want to do that, because it will be somewhat disruptive. But that, to me, is kind of the point of it. It needs to disrupt the, sendings off that we're seeing for foul and abusive language, and also like players swarming around referees. That was supposed to be clamped down on 5-6 years ago, and it's barely been clamped down on. The sin bins, from what I know of it, if you get sin bin twice, it counts as a yellow card. It counts as an official yellow card. So it's one of them where like a couple of sin bins, and if you get another yellow, you're done. So it is one of them where I think it is a good thing to curb dissent. Obviously, at grassroots level, when you haven't got linesmen, it's a little more difficult to keep tabs on. So it should be easier in the pro game to do it, because obviously there's numerous officials, and you could have, in terms of implementation, you could have, say, the fourth official, that every time there's a sin bin, the fourth official starts the timer, whether they do it 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever the case, and have it that way. So it's not the referee that has to keep that time, as well as keeping on top of everything else. So that's where the fourth official could be utilized pretty well in it. But I think it is one of them ones. It needs to be trialed at pro level. I know at grassroots level it has done good things in terms of curbing dissent, because that's what it's predominantly used for. I think the IFAB are trying to get it for stuff like tactical fouls and kind of cynical fouls and that kind of thing, those deliberate ones. But I think the main usage of it and where it could really come into its own is dissent. And as long as referees are applying it consistently, then it's one of them ones where it's like, all right, like you're getting one warning and then I'm sin binning you, as opposed to just brandishing yellows. I think it is one of them ones where it does give the players another chance to kind of buck up their ideas and fix up. And instead of like hounding the ref, it's another tool in the armor of a referee, where a referee could say, dude, one more time, if I hear one more thing, I'm going to sin bin you. And then it'd be one of them where if they want to jaw jack one more time, then you get sin binned, which is obviously to the detriment of your team, because your team is basically down to 10 men, is literally down to 10 men for 10 to 15 minutes. So yeah, I think it's a good thing that it's going to be trialed. And this is one thing that the IFAB, I'm actually in agreement with them on. Obviously they still need to sort out the handball rule and the offside rule, but at least sin bins can be used to help out referees. I said, when it comes to dissent, when it comes to players crowding around, it just needs to be applied evenly and consistently, like a good sauce, evenly and consistently. And just a bit more on the sin bins thing. Just thinking about it a bit more. I mean, it has to be. I said it has to be evenly and consistently applied. But also as well, the Premier League, the FA, they all have to get behind it as well, because the powers that be, if like cautions are going to be given for sin bins, and if sin bins are going to be, it's going to be trialed successfully, the powers that be have to get behind it. They have to make that big statement and say, you know what, the referees, we trust the refs. And also they need to simplify the laws around the game, laws of the game as well, because that's one of the things that that players get annoyed about, when it's like, well, he fouled him and should have been sent off for a second bookable. I'm now getting sent off for a second bookable for exactly the same thing. Where's the consistency? So there'll be a lot of players who will probably think about the sin bin thing. Well, hopefully it's applied consistently. Hopefully it's applied during big games, especially because tempers tend to boil over the more that's on the line. So even it's like the bigger the game, the more you're going to need to apply these kind of rules like sin bins, and basically stick to it. Because as I said, you need the powers that be to be behind it as well and say, you know what, we trust the referees, let's make it easier for them, let's simplify these rules and that as well. Otherwise, sin bins is just going to be kind of like VAR. Unless you clear up the laws of the game, then sin bins, just like VAR, is going to end up as kind of a cluster. And I said earlier about who would like have the stopwatch if someone sent off for 10 minutes, who's going to have the stopwatch? And someone's got to keep an eye on that. So I said the implementation is going to be a key factor in terms of whether it's successful or not, and whether the trial is successful or not. Because you look at, speaking of trials, look at VAR. VAR's success rate in the trials was, I think, 98.4% or 98.6% or 96.8, one of the two. It was in the mid to high 90s. And it's pretty clear that that's not the success rate with VAR in practice. A lot more variables. So it's one of them ones where with this sin bin trial, I'm wondering how long they're going to trial it for. I mean, I'm thinking it's one of them where they would need to trial it, I would say, for a whole season. They say it's probably going to start at the end of the season, but I would say you need to trial that for an entire season to see how the referees and fourth officials and other officials get to grips with it. And the referees need to learn at pro level how to use it, because there's obviously been that period at grassroots where it's been like 5-6 years that it's been being used. I think it was 2017-18 that it was brought in. So it is a case of there needs to be enough time for that trial period for the officials using it to be able to get used to it and to basically make it work. So there's a lot to take in regards to the sin bins trial that's just been announced. Hell of a lot. But I think it can be a good thing if used right. It's like it's like power in the right hands. It's a case of the mere threat of the mere threat of a sin bin could be enough to curb some players from, you know what, I'm not going to say anything more to the ref. So I'm hoping that's the case, but we'll see. Because I said VAR's success rate with that was very high in the trials, but then in practice, not that high, clearly. So yeah, we'll see. So what do you think of the sin bin trials that are going to be coming in soon? Do you think sin bins are a good idea? Do you think that dissent will be curbed or at least reduced by referees utilizing sin bins and sending players off essentially for 10 minutes? How do you think teams are going to take advantage of it as well? It's going to make things very, very interesting, especially if you see multiple people getting sin binned at a time as well. You know what? I have been Straight Shootin LJA, and I would like to know your views. www.pitch-talk.com is the official website. At Pitch Talk on Twitter, tweet with us, follow us, see what we're up to, or X as it's now called. Facebook.com/Pitch Talk. Become a fan, become a friend, become a member of the group. Join the footballing revolution we are working so hard to create. At Pitch Talk on Instagram as well for vlog and podcast previews and more. We're also on TikTok as well. Pitch Talk on TikTok. We're on Reddit. You can catch our podcast as well as on the website www.pitch-talk.com, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, so many places. Wherever you pick up your podcasts, you can pick up the Pitch Talk podcast there, and youtube.com/Pitch Talk for all of our videos. I have been Straight Shootin LJA, and until next time, take it easy, peeps.
Join the Pitch Talk revolution.
Check out the official Pitch Talk website,
www.pitch-talk.com. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Pitch Talk.
We are fans of football dropping vlogs, videos and podcasts on the beautiful game.
Check out our videos on YouTube and Instagram's IGTV,
including special feature segments,
5 minutes with the G,
the Straight Shootin View,
coaching with JBK. We produce, record and edit video content
and audio on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Verbal, Podomatic,
Anchor,
Spotify
and other podcast platforms.
Join the Pitch Talk revolution on Twitter, Instagram,
Facebook
and www.pitch-talk.com.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I can see you now.